Good evening, guys. This video is a quick update for people who have been following us as we've developed this series, Unforeseen Beasts and the Search for the Meaning of Our Age. A quick update as to the direction the series is going in. Right. Unforeseen Beasts and the Search for the Meaning of Our Age. The purpose of the book: to introduce some of the main characters that will appear in the Choose Your Own Story game, Unforeseen Beasts Game Tome Number 1. The theme of that book will be confront their historicism and defeat their nihilism. So as for this book, this first book, it's going to introduce at least, I think, about 100 characters, a little over 100 characters, and then there are some other illustrations, but to get a feel for the characters that are going to be recurrent, almost motif-like in how they're going to appear in the Choose Your Own Story game. So it's a setup book. On Amazon.com for Kindle for $6.99, and it's also on our eBay store as a disc on a DVD. Even though it's a setup book, it's not a short book. It's highly illustrated. It's 618 pages, 110 illustrations, characterized by high density. I guess the word high density is used because it really the characterization kind of is detailed. Like, you know, when the characters when the characters introduce themselves, they've kind of put maybe a little more detail than you would think in that kind of a book. So it's not really more novel like, it's kind of almost Pulp Fiction like in terms of how the characters have to be introduced with quite a large amount of detail. Content will be much more adventure oriented. The content will make much more adventure oriented sense when in the context of the Choose Your Own Story dynamics of the future books. Alright, so, and this is the book actually in the PDF format, which is on the disc. On the ebook, on the eBay store, our disc basically comes with the MOBI file, the EPUB file, and the PDF file, which is right here. There's no really one way to actually go about to summarize it, I guess. It's just, there's a lot of stuff in the future, and we're going to go over more just chapters, just reading them out and talking about how the characters are going to relate to the actual Choose Your Own Story game. I'm also going to make references to several of the people who helped in writing the book, or helped in inspiring a lot of the content in the book. What is this picture? Oh, this is an illustration of The Passing of the Great Race by Madison Grant, which is kind of talks about theories of the different racial subspecies. It's according to his theory. The Picasso penguin, which finds its way into the cover of the book. But once again, the heart of a lot of the issues in this book center around the future, or around the world as it will exist in the near future, in the 2020s and in the 2030s. Particularly with like the consequences of automation and genetic engineering, as well as how people are searching for certain types of like mystical meanings, or different substitutes for historical traditions, different sources of philosophy, revisionism. Let's see. Yeah, the book will make a lot more sense when it's actually put into the context of the actual. That's a reference to Eliphas Levi's Book of High Magic. Some of it's just when it actually gets when it gets to the point where we actually are talking about the actual decisions that you make in the Choose Your Own Story game, it makes a lot more sense, because the consequences or the actual results of what happens in those books depends kind of on what you know about certain specific topics that were in philosophy, religion, and in history. Alright, in the next video, we're just going to go over more of a different chapter, going into the details of the book, just chapter by chapter. Yeah, and once again, the first book is Unforeseen Beasts in the Search for the Meaning of Our Age, which is the book you're looking at right now, but in PDF format. The actual Amazon.com Kindle book is in, I think it's in EPUB or MOBI format. I think it's a MOBI file. Oh, Carl Carl Jung and the Lost Gospels. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here we're going to go over when we get